is not a good day for Ariana Madix, or well, not a good start to the week since Rachel Leviss just scored a victory in court. We have Jax Taylor, who's claiming that he slept with Ramona singer and Brandi Glanville. Brandi has responded. And we have some sad news that we'll get into at the top of the show, but let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zach Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What up, everybody? Everybody in the club. Let's get it, get it, get it. Get it, girl. Get it, girl. To the front, to the right, to the back, girl. It's your night. I know he thinks you're fine and stuff, but does he know how to wind you up? What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope you are having a great summer so far. We're already, halfway through summer, because summer ends at the end of August, and we're already through June and halfway through July. What a time to be alive. What's up? What's going on? Quick update, because I know last week was like a nightmare, right? It was a bit of a shit show. But just want to report things have gotten better. Just overall, by the end of the week, things have turned around. So all the positive vibes, all the sweet messages, all the prayers that you were sending, especially for my grandfather, he is miraculously doing well. It was, I kid you not, it was like Jesus has risen again. Personally, I was like, okay, it's going to be any day now. Like, this is it. You don't want to say that out loud, but inside I'm like, holy shit, like this is the end. We have reached the end of the terminal. And on, I think it was Saturday morning, he woke up. They were able to take him off the ventilator. Like, I kid you not, this man is a cat with 9 lives. And when I tell you a cat with 9 lives, I'm talking about those street cats that are like mangled and, they like have half a leg and they're like bouncing on 3 legs and they're still going. This man is keeps us on our toes for sure, but he is doing better. He is doing well. I believe they moved him already. He was in the ICU most of last week. But good news. So thank you guys for all the love and support and the prayers that you guys were sending to my family. I really appreciate it. So thank you. And I mean, I still sound a little nasally, but I've gotten better. I was sick for just the longest time last week, and it was crazy. And then I didn't even tell you. Did I tell you guys about when we had to go to Spotify and to tape Disaster Daters? And then next thing you know, like, we didn't even get into the studio because Jeff was dying outside of the studio, and I had to take him to urgent care because he was like his body was so dehydrated, and he needed to be pumped with fluids, and he needed an IV, and it was just like Tom's house got broken into and he confronted the burglar and then had to go have eye surgery. And my son had to go over to check on him and flipped his car 5 times on the way home. Yeah, I was under a lot of stress. Yeah, Jeff, literally, it was, guys, when I tell you last week was testing my heart and my patience, it was like every single area of my life decided to go up in flames at the same time. My love life, my dating life, my personal life, it was just like pew, pew, pew. And then family life, it was like, oh my God. And then my health was just like taking a toll. I couldn't even go to the gym. I was like trying, but I couldn't. Luckily over the weekend, I have slowly started to get caught back onto my routine. Ran 10 miles on, what was it, Saturday? Did a nice 10-mile run Saturday because it was with my run club. So yeah. Whew. But I'm glad to report everything is getting better. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. But they always say when everything goes to shit, it means that there's some upgrade, there's some shift, there's some evolution that is coming. So fingers crossed that, all is good. Can someone break me off a piece of that? What? Can someone break me off a piece of that, of this snack? We're looking at it. Oh, thank you. I was like, is this a Kit Kat? Is this a Kit Kat joke? And I was like, oh, am I the snack? Am I the Kit Kat bar today? Okay. That's a lot of miles. It was so many miles. It was the most amount of miles I've ever run in a single straight. We did 6 miles outside because we went in the morning before it got hot. So we did 6.5 miles outside, and then we did the last 3.5 miles on the tread because we took an Orange Theory. We ran in downtown. So we ran from, I don't know if anybody knows LA, but we ran from Chinatown to USC, and then to South Park, which is where I work out at Orange Theory. And so we went to Orange Theory and then took an Orange Theory class. So I ran another 3.5 miles on the tread, and then we did a full class, and we were lifting, and or we were dead by the end of it. But Um, oh, we have some sad news, guys. Shannon Doherty. I mean, well, we had quite a few passings over the weekend. We had Richard Simmons passed away. Um, but like the one that like hit me the most, Shannon Doherty. She's gone, guys. She passed away, and that like broke my heart. We've talked so much about Shannon Doherty on this podcast in like the last year with all the Charmed feuds, and I mean, we the big Charmed fan right here, right? Like I kept telling my manager, I was like, we need to get an interview with Shannon Doherty. I want her on the podcast. I want a one-on-one with her. Like you know, I was so sad that she passed away. Like, I was like, "Oh, Richard Simmons that died. He died. That's sad." And then there was somebody else that passed away as well. But I was then when Shannon Doherty came in. Well, the craziest part about Shannon Doherty's passing, what Richard Simmons? Yeah, where you been, girl? Richard Simmons passed away over the weekend. Um, uh, as a person who's been battling cancer since 2022 and still going, Shannon hit home such an inspiration. Yeah, Lori. Oh, Dr. Ruth. That's right. Dr. Ruth is the one that passed away. That one, I mean, I didn't know I knew of Dr. Ruth, but I never actively like listened to her show or anything. Um, but with Shannon, it was so interesting because I was looking. So um, just last week, Shannon and Holly announced that Shannon was joining. So they had a Charmed rewatch podcast. It was called House of Hellawell, and it was Holly Marie Combs, which is who she played Piper. It was Brian Cause, who played Leo. So it was Piper and Leo, and then they had Drew Fuller, who played Chris, who was the son from the future that came back and whatever. And so it was the three of them. And so they would rewatch the show and then they would discuss it episode by episode. And they were doing it independently on their own for a while. And it was ranking really well. But I also know I don't think they were like good at brokering deals or like whatever, because it was all independent. So they asked Shannon Doherty to do it, and Shannon originally said, yeah, no, I don't understand. What is podcast? Like she didn't get it. Right. So she ended up taking it to iHeartRadio and said, hey, iHeart, this is a good concept. This is smart. I'm going to do it. I'm Shannon Doherty and I'm the star. You're going to pay us. And iHeart agreed. And they took on the show and they just announced it last week. So Shannon started her podcast in December. Remember, and that's when she like talked about her husband cheating on her and while she was getting brain surgery and all of that stuff. And then she blasted Alyssa Milano because she's like, here's the truth. I'm at my final days and like um I'm in like the end of my life and I want to just be honest. And so she's like, Alyssa Milano is the real reason that I ended up getting fired. And I feel like it's true and it's not true about the Alyssa Milano thing. And we discussed it when she originally talked about this. And I know for whatever reason, the cast does. I think Holly's now upset with Alyssa because Alyssa's like, I didn't get you fired. Like, I absolutely was not the reason you got fired. And then Holly was like, we need to be honest, like, blah, blah, blah. Right. But not to rehash their drama because I want to obviously focus on Shannon's legacy. But the interesting thing is they just announced this podcast 6 days ago, 7 days ago, no, like 5 or 6 days before she passed. It was announced that she passed away on Saturday, which was wild, to think that just last week they had released their first episode of House of Hallowell. And it wasn't even season 1, episode 1. It was like hey, we're announcing that Shannon's joining the podcast. And this is what you can expect from the podcast. And this is why she waited so long. And this is why she decided to do this now. So it's just wild that like she was expecting to full on, like it came so suddenly and so unexpectedly. And it really made me think, and I know we're here for the tea and I promise we'll get to the tea in a bit, but it really made me think because as I've openly shared with you guys, my dad was recently diagnosed with, an incurable cancer. It's myeloma. So it's in his blood cells, a blood plasma, sorry. Um, and that's the type of cancer you can't just cut out, like it's in his body. And so when you see him, he's still working and he's still trying to live his life to the fullest potential that he can. But it just really made me think, like somebody like Shannon Doherty, who has battled breast cancer for a really long time and like had it cut out and then it came back. And but it's just crazy to see, because I've often thought about that, like with my dad. I'm like, people see him and they're like, oh, he's doing fine. But like the reality is he still has cancer in his body. And there's right now the most they can do is just kind of maintain it, and just kind of see where it goes from here. But I mean, there is no cure for him, and he's going to live with cancer until the cancer eventually takes him out. And it's depleted his immune system, it's spread to his bones. So there are, it has affected his quality of life to the most that he'll allow it to. Like, when you see him, you're like, "Wow, he still, looks like Shannon Doherty." Like, you wouldn't think that they have cancer if you didn't actively know that they had cancer. But it just makes you think, and I'm often like, it could be any minute. Like, it could be any, like, you don't know, and so this really made me reflect on that, and I guess just for all of us to, like, really think, or even my grandfather, we thought he was gone. Come Thursday, Friday, we were like, "All right, bring in the priest. It's time for final rites." Like, it was just crazy to see how fast it all can go, and it's just why I think it brought me into a different perspective leaving last week and coming into this week of just being like, life is short. You have to live it out. You can't be, stay stuck in the stress or the chaos of it. You have to just live your day to the most, to the fullest that you possibly can. Tell the people that you love them that you love them. Spend time with them. Make sure those priorities are right, and just, make sure you're living life, because you never know when it's gonna go. I mean, listen, Richard Simmons was cooped away in his house for most of his last final years, which is no way to live your life. So don't be a Richard Simmons. Just go out and broker that final iHeartRadio deal on your deathbed. You get that paycheck. And you know what? Knowing Shannon Doherty, she probably got a guarantee. And knowing Shannon Doherty getting her guarantee, I'm pretty sure she made sure that check was coming in so that her mama is taken care of when she's gone. You would have loved Dr. Ruth no matter what. She would say it no matter what. She was not politically correct. She did not care. Good for her. Living la vida loca. Yeah. Okay. Jax Taylor has claimed to have hooked up with and slept with Brandi Glanville and Ramona Singer, which is interesting because those are not the two that I would. I mean, I get like, maybe. Well, I mean, if he would have said Sonia or Luann, I wouldn't have been surprised either. Um, the Roni ladies are, they be in their hoe phase. They be living their life, you know? But so Brandi Glanville has come out and she's like, nope, that's not true. I absolutely did not sleep with Jax Taylor. So this came through Reddit. And so Jax and Schwartz have been doing a lot of like live events and stuff together. They did their party bus together. And so I guess it was somebody that I don't know if I don't think it was like a Q&A. I think they were just like hanging out on the party bus with a couple of other people that purchased tickets for that experience, and oh, excuse me, purchased tickets for that experience. And then, like, Jax, once you get him drinking and, maybe he imbibed on some pasta, who knows? But like, you know, he just starts spilling all sorts of stuff, true or not, we don't know. But so anyway, someone that was there went to Reddit. And they're like, here's the tea. Brittany tried to FaceTime and he declined it and he ignored it. And he also said that he hooked up with Brandi and Ramona. And then that started going all over online. Which also at the same, I don't know, like, how do we feel about this? The fact that people go to these things and they like get the tea and then I mean, I guess like we like it because we get the tea, but I also feel like it's going to prevent a lot of these reality stars from being so open because, well, I guess they should know better by now, right? Now I'm like, yeah, I was going to try to be like, oh, then it kind of defeats the purpose of like getting these intimate experiences. But here's the thing, even me, like if I do a live show, I know that there's a chance somebody's going to record something or somebody's going to live stream something or somebody's going to report back something. Like, I already know how the game goes, And so everything that you say, just know it can end up on Reddit. So at this point, Jax is not new to the game. Did they all hook up together? No, not together, but he said that he hooked up with each of them. But Brandi said she absolutely did not hook up with Jax. She's like, that's not true. I've never slept with Jax Taylor ever. I don't know. I mean, maybe they had um like a drunken makeout somewhere at a Bravo event or something, or like a Watch What Happens Live back in the day. I think Ramona and Jax maybe. I think, well, it depends on like how you define hookup. Like, I know New York hookup is kind of like a we kissed and made out, but like an LA hookup means no, we did a full on boom boom in the bedroom. So it varies, it differs. You never know. You never know. So I don't know. I don't know. Do we believe Jax? Jax is a pathological liar. I mean, yeah. Laura says snitches get stitches, but people share. Yeah. Ergopai says maybe their definitions of hookup are different. Possibly, like I said, New York, LA. Like the term means something different depending on which coast you're on. To me, I'm like hook up means like we were naked, there were fluids exchanged, like something more. It doesn't have to be full on penetration, but it's absolutely not just like we kissed. But I know in like New York, I remember that was like a thing when Sheena, who was it? Was it Nima? Or Carl. It was like Sheena and Carl like hooked up because Carl said that they hooked up, but she's like, no, we didn't. But like to Carl, it was like, no, we made out. But listen, good for Sheena. Carl's well, I know everyone's like dragging Carl these days because they're like, oh, his hair is this and his teeth are, his new veneers are crazy. But yeah, I don't know. But do we believe hookup isn't different in New York? Stupid. I'm just saying that was the conversation that was had with the Sheena and Carl thing. Well, it depends because people, I mean, maybe it's not a coastal thing. I feel like culturally coastal, it is a little bit of a thing. But Pamela says, I don't need that mental picture. Ramona eyes rolling back in her head. Well, why would you type that? You're like, I don't need that mental picture. Ramona's eyes rolling back in her head. And then now we all picture Ramona's eyes rolling in the back of her head with her toes curled, and Jackson, his bunions. Like, why would you put that visual in her head? Kat says, yeah, same. I'm from New Jersey, but close to the city, and I consider hooking up more than just kissing. Listen, that's what Carl said when it came to Sheena and the hookup back in the day. Back in the day, but then again, if you're Rachel Leviss, hooking up is you just doing, rocky, rocky, bang, banging all over town. Look at this one. Look at that one. Look at this one. Look at that one. Okay. So, what did we have this? Oh, we had OC, the Real Housewives of Orange County premiere, and we had the Real Housewives, a new episode of Jersey. Jersey was fucking boring. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know why. Like, these are the final 3 episodes, and like that was one of the final 3 episodes that we got. Next week doesn't even look that much more exciting because it was like Teresa and Jen doesn't think that Teresa's been loyal to her, and so I don't. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. It was a boring episode of Jersey. The fashion show and the Namaste podcast. I just wasn't into it. I have these moments where I'm like, ooh, Jersey's good. And then I have these moments where I'm like, not that great. So I don't know. But OC did not disappoint. I had the screener in my email for the longest time. And I only watched the first few seconds because I'd known that they were going to be using my voice again in the premiere, and so I wanted to be like, "Oh, how did they use? Like, what clip did they use? Whatever." Because you usually don't know. You give like authorization for. They're like, "Oh, we want to use something from this episode," and they generally have an idea, but you never know what they're going to clip out or what they're going to use, whatever. But I was excited that they used us in the premiere for OC, me and Kempire, because I feel like we're like a duo now, right? We did the OC premiere, we did Beverly Hills last season, we did the Beverly Hills finale together. So I feel like we're a duo. Bravo knows who they like. Um, while other people are still out there claiming that they decline when Bravo asks to share their clips. I'm like, okay, good for you. But I was very entertained in that premiere. The Alexis Bellino versus Shannon Bedore. Shannon looks incredible. We just need to start there. Shannon looks so good. The Ozempic is slapping. Her dress, her style. Like normally, like she had a minute where she was kind of grandma-y. And even she looks better now than she did when she first joined the show. Like when they showed the old Shannon Bedore from like her first season, and she's like she's like real thin, but she looked real old. Like not in a mean way, but like in a sorry, whatever. But like now, she doesn't look old. She looks tight and trim and fit, and she's like, yeah, let's get it. Let's get it, get it, get it. And I was like, okay, Shannon Bedore. There's the door, Shannon Bedore. Alexis Bellino, though, really came back. And I don't remember watching Alexis Bellino back when she was on because I wasn't an earlier watcher of OC. But I will say, from the clips that I've seen of Alexis before to like Alexis now, she is really in her renaissance moment. Like she's having her full glory. I agree with Emily. I do agree. That what's his face? John Jansen is definitely a douchebag. And I think Alexis just has blinders on right now. And you can even tell like Heather's not fully endorsing Alexis dating John Jansen. Like, I don't think anybody is like a fan of John Jansen's. He's Johnny J. And Heather Dubrow's like, yeah, this is Johnny J is the best rebrand since Mayo became aioli, which I never really thought about. Aioli is really just mayo. It's like mayo with like a dash of paprika, you know? Um, which is funny to think about. That is true. But I don't know if I'm sold on the rebrand of Johnny J though. He seems fine with Jesus Jugs, but like I ain't sold on the fact that he's not the person that Shannon showed us that he was. Not even the person that Shannon showed us that he was, the person that we saw him to be. Alexis Picker is douchebag. Well, so is mine, so I can't be that mad at her. Um, I was like, yeah, every time I see like new reports about John Jansen, I'm like, it sounds like just my type. But so that final scene though, when they're at Heather's party, which, you know, everyone always Heather throws some damn good parties and everyone always drags her for it. And like, oh, Heather Dubrow, look at all the branding, look at all her logos everywhere. Oh, now there are all these different stations, so many stations. Heather's going to put you to work at her party. I mean, I do agree. We don't need that many, like maybe 2 or 3 stations so that people have something to do if they want something to do. But here's the thing: people come to these parties for 3 things: to eat your free food, to drink your free booze, and to talk shit. That's really what a party is, right? I went to that party room wasn't Heather. What do you mean it wasn't Heather? Oh, the vibe of it? Yeah. Um, like, you don't need that many stations. Like, maybe you have a tarot card reader, right? Or maybe you have a little table where you can do a little something, like, so that there's a little activity so that there's no lull in the party. But for the most part, I don't think we need that much going on at a party. Because, like I said, all people care about is the food and the alcohol and the company, right? Um, I had my friend had a dinner party over the weekend, or well, Saturday night. Yeah. He hosted a game night, which is always fun. And I was like, "Ooh, do I get to stir the pot?" Like, that's a fun I love to play games. Love to play games with people. Um, it was a good time though, but like there was food, there was lots of alcohol, you know, more and people were more there. Like I feel like people came, played like one round of a game, and then like a lot of people started to leave after the first game. And I was like, it's game night. Like I came to get drunk. I was definitely who was the most drunk at the party? Me. That was me. Yay. I listen, and I had no shame in it either. I was calling out the other team when we were playing games. I was just like, you're going down. And then my team lost. But like it still, I won at shit talking. That's the only game that matters. But yeah, we played games, lots of games, and then we eventually wrapped it up. And I was very litty city, but I had a very good time. But like that's the thing. Most of the people left after the first game because they weren't really there for the games. They were there for the food and for the alcohol. And partly for the ambiance. But like tell me you disagree. When you go to a party, you already know whose party's going to be cheap and whose party you're not going to stay at very long. You know, that's the truth of the matter. Lady City all day. But OC was good. I mean, I don't know if I feel like a lot of people online are team Shannon, and I don't know if I'm team Shannon or team. I think I'm team Shannon. Like, there's nothing Alexis really brings that to me would be, um, that to me would be redeeming when it comes to John Jansen. I did think it was dumb though of Shannon to be like, well, the real reason I don't like Alexis Bellino is because her husband sued me. And I was like, really? Like, no, you're mad because she's fucking your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend that was a douche to you, and he bought her jewelry and he's nice to her. So, hmm, 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 hmm. That's the reality of Shannon Bedore. But I am Team Shannon on this one. So there we go. Marianne Stout says, the haircut is cute. Thank you, Marianne Stout. Oh, Katja says, love you and Stu together. Thank you. Thank you. What happened with the trial? Oh, we'll get to that in just a sec. Sorry. And Danny Gossip Gal says, your last disaster daters. Oh, the one with Bruno? Oh, trust me. Disaster daters is only going to get crazier as the season goes on. I haven't even told you guys about 4th of July or 4th of July week. Oh, You're gonna go through the range of emotions with me, guys. You're on this journey with me because we didn't get to tape last. We were supposed to tape our episodes last week, and then we didn't get to. So now you're catching up to real time. Uh, excuse me. So yeah, just no disaster daters is why. What part of last week's episode that was so crazy, Danny? But yeah, guys, definitely go and check out Disaster Daters. New episodes are dropping every Tuesday. You can also check out my other podcast, The Pop Report, with me and Andy Lawani, who's an entertainment reporter. We bring you all the latest tea outside of reality TV. So Britney drama, Ben and J-Lo, music news with Katy Perry and the Dr. Luke of it all, and the Kesha, $, ha, 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 ha. So yeah. The cast IGs on Premiere were all comments of hearts for Shannon. I know. My heart breaks for all of them. Like, could you imagine you go into this new project with your friend slash, former colleague, and the next thing you know, they pass away right after you announce it? Like, that's crazy. But yeah, definitely go support the Pop Report. We are on YouTube. So if you're watching this, I know you like to get the tea on the YouTube. So you can go and subscribe to the Pop Report on YouTube. The link is in my channel here on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube or not, then there's a link to us, at least on Spotify, that you can listen to the Pop Report on and subscribe and follow and do all the things. But we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube for the Pop Report. We're so close. We're pushing that 700 mark. So if you haven't done so yet, definitely go give us some love, give us some support, and get your tea. Here's where you'll get all my unfiltered crazy banter. And over there is where you'll get more general pop culture celebrity news. So get it, get it, get it. Okay. Let's talk Rachel. Rachel Leviss. So she has experienced a victory in court. And some people got mad at me on Twitter for saying Rachel Leviss wins in court. They're like, wins? She didn't win. She didn't win yet. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Just because you misread what I wrote doesn't mean I was wrong. I didn't say she won her lawsuit, but she did win in Ariana's motion to have the case dismissed. Okay. That's where she won. So Ariana filed an anti-slap motion. And what is an anti-slap motion? So anti-slap, so SLAP stands for Strategic Lawsuits Against Public Participation. So this basically happens when somebody with a lot of money or like a big company that wants to use their money to funnel into a lawsuit to like intimidate someone, they're trying to silence their critics by slapping them with the big bill of a lawsuit. So you try to pick on the little guy. It's basically to prevent a David and Goliath situation as it relates to the public, and because sometimes a company can be like, oh, we didn't like what this critic had to say, so we're going to sue them for that and shut them up so that way they never speak negatively about us again. Sorry, my nose is running, guys. But so Cornell describes it as lawsuits brought by individuals and entities to dissuade their critics from continuing to produce negative publicity. This is what Ariana was claiming Rachel was trying to do. It was an anti-slap motion, which the judge denied. The judge was like, no, this does not fall under slap. Rachel did not slap you. Remember, Rachel's claiming Sheena slapped her in New York. So it's just basically to prevent people from slapping other people with lawsuits that are frivolous, and really just an attempt to intimidate is my understanding of it. But so judge denied it because Ariana's like, well, this is of public interest, and Rachel has made her public life and her sex life and her dating life part of the public interest, right? So Ariana has a right to free speech to talk about things that the public is interested in. And the judge is like, yeah, no, you recording her naughty FaceTime video is not about free speech. So Ariana lost that motion, and the case is moving forward. The lawsuit is moving to trial. So the judge ruled Maddox's conduct is not protected under the anti-SLAPP statute because the alleged conduct was illegal as a matter of law. Plaintiff has conclusively demonstrated Maddox's conduct alleged in 3 causes of action was illegal. Therefore, defendant cannot meet her burden to make a prima facie showing that plaintiff's suit arises from any act of defendant in furtherance of defendant's right of petition or free speech under the United States or California Constitution in connection with public use. So, because Ariana committed an act that was illegal according to the judge, therefore she's not protected by the First Amendment and she's not protected by the anti-SLAPP statute. It's basically what the judge said. So it's moving forward. And Rachel's attorney was very happy about this. Rachel's attorney has issued their own statement saying, we're very pleased at the court's recognition that Ms. Maddox's actions were illegal, which to me was the biggest thing that stood out to this, that the judge said, no, the reason you don't have these protections of freedom of speech or anti-SLAPP is because what you did was illegal. And the judge says that in his ruling, which to me says that in a shocking twist, I actually think Rachel Leviss has a chance of winning this fucking lawsuit against Ariana. I think it's ridiculous for a number of reasons. First off, I think you've already inflicted emotional distress onto Ariana by banging her man in line to her face and betraying her trust and embarrassing her in front of the world. And 2, like, I think Rachel knows there's no intent to distribute this video. There's no intent to publicly shame her in any way. We all stopped talking about this. Like the second she issued the cease and desist to no longer circulate or watch the video, everyone was like, fuck it. We don't want to get sued. We don't want any part of this. Like everybody backed away and cleaned their hands of this last March. So the fact that like we're still going on with this, I'm like, there was no need for this. This happened a year ago. Nothing came of it. The video never leaked. The video never got out there. And even if 3 or 4 other people saw it, at that point, it is what it is. It's done, which there's still no proof or evidence that it was ever circulated. So what's going to come down to, I don't know, the fact that the judge said that that Ariana's conduct was illegal is what worries me for Ariana, because now it seems like there is a good chance that she may have to face repercussions from it and I know people are getting caught in the minutia. We're getting so fixated on the fact that there was distribution from one device to another. And yes, technically that is distribution, but does it fall under the law of revenge porn? Not necessarily, but again, it is a newer law and the parameters and definitions are still evolving as technology changes, So, like I said, eventually it was about shaming people publicly on the internet with their intimate, photos or videos, and now it evolved into distribution from one device to the next. And I know people get so fixated on that one thing. Well, it moved from Tom's phone to Ariana's phone and then to Rachel's phone. And that's distribution. You broke the law. But it's also like, when you get into a car accident and you accidentally, end up injuring the other party to the point where, unfortunately, maybe they don't make it out of that accident. That's a little different from, a Gypsy Rose situation where she had a guy come and plan, the execution of her mother. You know what I mean? Like they're just different, it's different. It's all very different. Even like with Alec Baldwin, right? Because that was news that came out over the weekend as well. Is Alec Baldwin? His case his trial had been dismissed. It was the involuntary manslaughter case. And again, there's a difference between manslaughter and involuntary manslaughter. Yes, there is still, the loss of a person's life. Yes, absolutely. However, the details are different. It's a little different from being Jeffrey Dahmer and Gypsy Rose. Context and details. Yes, technically, there is still the execution of another person, but context and nuance matter in these cases. And I think when it comes, these are obviously very, extreme cases, but I'm just using more extreme examples to explain that like there is a difference even in these smaller laws. right? And you also have to look to, I mean, intent is important, but not only is intent important, but so is outcome, right? Of how things ended in the end. And the outcome is the video never got out. Ariana wants nothing to do with this, has said that, has provided Rachel's attorneys with evidence to prove that she deleted the videos off of her phone. So the fact that like this is still something that we're talking about is ridiculous. I would understand if like Rachel really wanted to go hard at Tom Sandoval, but again, then like you know, could have gone after him criminally. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh wow, you guys are so sweet. Nikki H says, I love Disaster Dater. Sharon says, spill. Danny says, the story you shared about the axe, I think it was Disaster Daters. They're all so good. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love how much love and respect Schwartz clearly has for you, Zach. Thank you. I appreciate that, Nikki. Disaster Daters is the best. Always a good laugh. It's crazy. Oh my, you guys are so sweet. Nikki says, Disaster Daters is wild, so funny. Thank you guys. And Pop Report is great. I prefer YouTube for Pop Report. Well, there you go. Now you can go subscribe on Pop Report. Nikki B with the says, I was right. Faced numerous snide remarks about my opinion on Rachel having a winnable case, which was based solely on the law. These rabid fans. No, listen, it shocked the shit out of me too. But again, it comes down to like, we're really like hammering the details of like, did Alec Baldwin intend to harm someone? No, that's why it's considered involuntary manslaughter. And then in the end, they couldn't effectively prove the case with the evidence that they brought into court. So the case was ultimately dismissed. And he's not being, but at the end of the day, you can say, well, there was the incident. It happened on set. There's a person that's no longer alive because of it. So boom, guilty. But it's like, well, but in the court of law, details, context, evidence, all of that stuff matters. It's just really interesting that the judge has already determined that what Ariana did was illegal. But first of all, we have to figure out I was gonna say which part was illegal. We'll have to see how this plays out in court because it's truly wild. Truly, truly, truly wild. Laura says she's not going to win anything. Even if she wins, the lawyers will get everything. Yeah, I mean, she's not going to get much. The lawyers are out for their payday. Joe said, was anybody gagged with the court drama last Friday that led to the dismissal of Al? Oh, yeah, we're just talking about it. Yeah, he was dismissed with prejudice, which is wild, But the trial is now, this is what's even crazier about the Rachel Leviss lawsuit. Trial is set for, get this, November 3rd. Not this year, though. November 3rd, 2025. We will have to wait over a year for this trial to even begin. I'm just like, damn, like we can't just like get to the point. All right, like I just want to know. So, Ariana's going to have to sit through this for a little while longer. A little while longer. The law is an ass. The law can be an ass, Rebecca. Just depends. Toria said Ariana should be grateful to Rachel. If she did not cheat with Tom, she would not have all the jobs and fame that she now has. Nobody was checking for her, really. I mean, listen, she has come up a lot since that, since Sandoval, and good for her, Sharon says, you really have to be a piece of work to screw your friend's man on the side and then file against her in court. That's beyond the realm. It's definitely a choice. It's definitely lots of audacity. Lots of audacity. Victimology gymnastics is over. Ariana isn't a victim for staying with a man who is a cheater. She is a victim of trusting her friend and being betrayed by her friend. Like that experience was still very real and valid for her. Cassie says it's horrible. She slept with her best friend and is now going after her. Tom's narcissistic behavior must have rubbed off on her. It's just I don't think it's her being a narcissist. I just think that the people she has around her are convincing her that this is a good idea. And what is the motive at the end of the day? Because she wants money. Like if that's your motivation in life is you want money, so you're going to sue somebody that you've already hurt. That's interesting. I do believe it doesn't look like the intentional infliction of emotional distress claim that she's made stuck. I believe that was dismissed and that's done. Rach was claiming, that they'd intentionally inflicted emotional distress on her, which would be interesting because if the judges determined that she didn't meet the burden of proof to show that that was intended to harm her, it'll be interesting how the whole revenge porn case moves forward. We'll see. Luciana says the law does not care when it happened or if anyone is speaking on it. I don't understand that point. Toria says Rachel needs long-term care, inpatient for at least a year. No, I don't think any of this is doing any good. Zach, have you heard from Bob? I've not heard from Bob. No. Marianne said, I did, Zach. You did. Oh, you subscribed. Thank you. Sharon says, I like your goatee. I don't know. It was just something I thought I missed my jawline. And I was like, let's just see. I don't know. I think I like it a little more full. I like, more of the beardy kind of look rather than the goatee. I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling the goatee. The Alec Baldwin case was dismissed as a sanction to the special prosecutor suppressing evidence in the middle of the trial. Thank you, Joe. Courts are so bogged down with so many lawsuits. I know. Her lawyers are the best. Mark Garagos, Rachel will win. But what will she win? Like a lot of people are saying, the lawyers are going to get, I'm sure they're entitled to at least 40%, right? So they're going to get a good chunk of whatever they get out of this if they're able to get much out of it. Did Ariana send the video to anyone besides herself and Rachel? We have no evidence of that, Tara. All we have is the evidence that the video went from Ariana's phone to Rachel's phone, and that's about it. But, Rachel claims that that other people saw the video. Again, they're only able to prove that if those people are willing to testify in court and say, yes, I saw the video. Otherwise, I don't think they have proof or evidence of that. I don't think that there is any evidence to support that other people have seen this video, especially when Ariana's denied that and Rachel has not provided any evidence to the contrary. I believe they said at a minimum, the video was seen between Tom, Ariana, and Rachel, which means if that was at a minimum, then I don't think yet have any proof. But now they have a little over a year to build their case or to really get their evidence. And Toria says prosecutor withheld evidence, so happy Baldwin charges were dismissed and they can never charge against him. Yeah, prosecutor reigned. Yeah, because it was dismissed with prejudice, which means they can't bring the case against him in the future. It's karma. Oof. You think this is karma to Ariana? I mean, she's doing well. So if that's her karma, then she's killing it. Marianne says, where is Rocky getting the money for her attorney? I think it's probably a contingency case where they're saying we're going to win this. And so when we win, we will take it from the settlement. Nikki says her bottom line, if Ariana sent those videos to anyone, including herself, she should settle. I mean, this is going to be one of those cases that really helps us clearly define revenge porn. Natalie says, how Ariana must be feeling now, like a whole other year of putting up with this from someone who is supposedly sorry. Yeah, that's the other part is it's like you're sorry and you're remorseful, but yet you're on this like vengeance to like keep going after this person. There's just no point to me in it. There's no point in suing Ariana. There's no point in even suing Tom at this point. Like, it's done. It's something that happened in the past that everybody seems to have moved on from until we realized, hey, we can get a little cash out of this because we're down to the last day of the statute of limitations. So you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. Luciana says, I know that the trial is not set until next year. However, it has settlement conferences in between and it may never go. Yeah, if they decide to settle before then, we'll see. Lori says, I'm getting distressed because most shows on Bravo have been so meh. Yeah, I agree. Lesson learned, check your temper, don't react in the moment. That's easy to say now. That's easy to say behind your screen and be like, check your temper. But like when you find out that your best friend's fucking your dude, like, and lying to you about it, like I don't think logic really, like you become an emotional person. You react in that moment, right? Like you aren't, what is it? Defense of temporary insanity. Listen, tell me you wouldn't react in some way, even if you clocked the bitch, like Sheena apparently allegedly did, you know? I wonder if Rocky Bang Bang is still going to therapy. I don't know. I'm sure she is. Sharon says, couldn't Ariana counter with emotional distress? She can countersue her, yes. Rachel made an estimate of 48 million. Wow, she's gonna get 48 million. What? Where is she gonna get that 48 million from? From individuals? From Tom and Ariana? They're gonna pay her 48 million? You think Tom and Ariana have ever seen 48 million? Mark Garagos loves the spotlight. Yes, he does. That's why he took this on. So I'm pretty sure it's not a pro bono, but a contingency case. Everyone talks about Ariana not getting over Tom. How can she when stuff keeps coming up? I think she's over Tom. I think she's done with Tom. Um, admitted legal moron here. How does she afford to retain her attorneys for over a year for way? Because I don't think she's paying them. I think it's a contingency case, which like Tom Girardi used to do this. Remember when he was helping all the homeless and the toothless? Tom Girardi would help them and then take 40% plus his costs at the end of the case. It's very common. She's got a great lawsuit. She sent it to the cast. She got a great lawsuit. I don't know what that means. Denise. Lisa says Rachel made an estimate of 48 million. That's crazy. That's crazy. 48 million is wild, you guys. Remember how Ariana cried at the final, just saying, "I wish I could just stop talking about me now." This, yeah, she's done. She's over it. Common Sense says when Ariana said she shouldn't care what Trump supporters think during one of the reunions, is why I stopped caring about her insecure. I don't understand the point of that comment. Nor do I understand what you were trying to say. Sorry. Nikki says, "Oh, I would have reacted all right, but luckily I'm not in the limelight." Yeah. Zach, thoughts on Sandoval's new upside down A tattoo? He has a new tattoo. He is in love with this Victoria chick, though. He's like wildly in love with her. Because he's constantly posting about her nonstop, which to me, I'm like, okay. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, okay, okay. We'll see. We'll see how this all shakes out. What other news? Victoria's a hot. Victoria is really hot. Really liking your new cut. Thanks, guys. I just needed a little summer freshy haircut. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Work. I can post from any angle. Do you know that TikTok? Lisa said, "Sorry, talking to Tex." Ariana cried at the finale that she just wished that she would stop talking about her meaning Rachel now, and she has to deal with another year. I know. She's like, "I just want to be done with this," and she was like, "I'm mad at you, Tom, because this person won't shut up about me and continues to like insert herself in our lives and blah blah blah." And I get it. Tom is incapable of true love. What he feels for Victoria is lust, and it will not last. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. Linda says, correction, Tom Girardi took 100% of the lawsuit winnings. False. Tom Girardi did not take 100%. Tom Girardi was mixing all the money up, and he wasn't fully We only know of 2 cases that have been proven so far. That's the Rui Gomez family, and that's the Lion Air family. But what it was is I think he was just overspending and he couldn't keep up with his lifestyle, and so he kept dipping back into the company money and mixing all the money, and it was not good. It was not good. But he did not take 100% of the lawsuit winnings. Zach, aren't we surprised Sandoval didn't say anything about the train wreck of Billy Lee? Oh, because remember, they were going to be. Remember when Victoria was using his thing? Well, I actually think that he's probably prevented from talking about it because of the fact that he's not allowed to do press or talk, or like they're trying to keep all of the cast on like a press hold. Brittany says Sheena is going to befriend Rachel again, and maybe even Lala will. Ariana will probably leave the show. Calling it now. The producers would be so happy. I don't think that Sheena would befriend Rachel again. You think Rachel will come back to the show? I agree with you. I think Ariana's leaving it. Ariana has no reason to stay on the show aside from the paycheck, which I feel like at this point she'll find a way to make money elsewhere. But like, I think she's done with the show. I don't think Ariana was ever a big fan of doing Vanderpump Rules. I think she did it initially to support Sheena, and then she did it because she was dating Tom Sandoval, and it like just became part of her life, and it was a good paycheck, and she didn't have to bartend, and she was happy with that. But oh yeah, what's her name? Southern Charm Girl fired. Olivia. She was on Sheena's podcast and she was talking about how she left Southern Charm, but it wasn't her choice, that the producers basically like fired her. And she's like, I would have loved to have come back. I didn't realize that they didn't really want me back. And so I thought that was dumb that they got rid of Olivia. Especially, I mean, she did have a rough season last year, but I thought that was dumb that they got rid of her. I thought she would have been great and she would have come back even stronger this season. Nikki says, I think the lawsuit and restraining order broke Sheena's heart. Oh, for sure. And Rachel's taking no accountability. She hasn't really apologized. Like literally nothing. Remember when her like thing was like, oh, here I have this letter to give to Sheena, and then Andy read it and Andy gave it to Sheena. He's like, oh, she just dropped the lawsuit against you. She withdrew it, and Sheena's like, great, didn't fix anything though, because the restraining order still stands. Crazy, 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 crazy. Val says her parents moved to Texas. She wasn't around. Well, yes and no. Like, here's the thing. If they wanted her back, she would have found a way to come back to Charleston. You know how many people move or live somewhere else that they don't necessarily yeah, no, it's why we haven't heard from Joe in a while. Thank God. Why do we want to hear from Joe? Will Summer House be mostly Lindsay rubbing her belly? Well, she ain't drinking. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with Lindsay and Carl in the same house yet. That's so toxic. Why would you go into the summer house pregnant? Especially when you don't have many friends in the house. You're gonna have to live with your ex. Like that's gonna be crazy. It's just not a healthy environment to be like pregnant in. You want to like be in bliss, not in chaos. With like Kyle getting drunk and running around naked everywhere. To each their own. Okay, I think that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Do we have anything else? Kathy Wakili. Kathy Wakili was just on Watch What Happens Live. Remember, Melissa Gorga was just on Jeff Lewis Live, and Melissa said that Kathy purchased the house across the street from them, and then Kathy went on Watch What Happens Live, and she was at the bar, and Andy Cohen asked her about it, and she confirms, yes, she is moving across the street from Melissa. She's like, yeah, Melissa, I guess she owns the street. It's Melissa Way. I was like, what? And she says that, when Jennifer asked him, she's like, oh, she said she wants to make amends with you. And Kathy's like, oh, I think it's very convenient. Very convenient. And I was like, well, yeah, it's convenient if like your family and your neighbors, like if you had an estranged cousin who then moved across the street from you, you're going to tell me you're not going to be like, you know what, maybe we just bury the hatchet at this point. Like you're going to what? Be like, no, let's just have a feud living across the street from each other. You know? Like why wouldn't you make amends at that point? You live across the street from each other. It's weird not to. And also Melissa said that she wanted Joe and Kathy to be the ones to make amends. Melissa wasn't like, oh, I miss Kathy. I want to be friends with her again. She's like, no, Joe and Kathy grew up together. They're cousins. Joe used to be very close with Rosie. So like, yeah, for the sake of his family, I would love for them to be friends again. Or for them to be good and close again. Like they're cousins, I don't think there's anything nefarious about like making up with your cousins who aren't even on this television show with you anymore, but are living across the street from you. Like I don't understand what would be nefarious about that. It would be different if like Kathy was rejoining the show and Melissa's spot was uncertain and she wanted to guarantee herself a spot. So she started drama with Kathy to get back on the show. But Melissa's on the show. Kathy's not on the show. So what leverage does Kathy offer to Melissa? Nothing. Other than Joe reuniting with his cousin, I thought it was weird. And then the fact that she's like, "Oh, it's Melissa Way. She thinks she owns the street." I was like, I listened to the Jeff Lewis interview, and she never said she owned the street. She just said it was their street because it's the street that they live on. You're moving across the street, like it's fucking weird. It's weird to like not, you know. I don't know. It's just weird. Laura says it's weird that they wanted to live across the street. Well, apparently that house is like prime real estate. Like that's like it's a shore house, and it's very rare that a shore house ever goes up for sale. So I don't think it was like we want to move near Melissa. I think it was like this is a good property. It's a good plot of land that like there's no reason to not jump at this offer while it's available. Who cares who lives across the street, you know? But then once you're there, like, you know, nice to hang with you guys. Love you, Zach. So sad. Glad you're feeling better. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Real estate is crazy here in Jersey. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'll talk to you tomorrow, this Tuesday. We do have a new episode of Disaster Daters that is dropping on Tuesday. And we have a new episode of The Pop Report that's dropping on Wednesday. So be sure to tune into and subscribe to both. You can start watching season 2 of Disaster Daters now on my YouTube channel here. And be sure to subscribe and support The Pop Report, which is also on YouTube. There's a link on my channel so you can go straight to The Pop Report and subscribe and help us hit that 1,000. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zach if you want to keep up with me all over the internet. You can follow the podcast at No Filter with Zach. And yeah, I love you. I appreciate it. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, be sure to give us a nice rating, nice review. Review all the shows. I love them. I love all the reviews, and I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are at thebomb.com. So please keep it up. Keep it going. I love it. We actually, oh shit, I had one and then I lost it. I wanted to give, let me give a quick shout out to Jasmine B71. She says, hey, Zach, can I say how I love the podcast and enjoy listening to a variety of topics with a bit of sass and shade? Not only do I enjoy listening to being a stay-at-home mom with a never-ending to-do list, but my little 8-month-old enjoys watching you too. He's currently your littlest fan. Aw. After being a VPR fan who found No Filter with the help of the YouTube algorithm, now a forever fan, thank you for helping me on days I struggle by giving me a good laugh and an update. Thank you, Jasmine. I love ya. I appreciate you. Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.